Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this Tip Top Tuesday. You're looking amazing, by the way. Tip Top Tuesday. That's a new one. I think we'll roll with that. I like it. I like it. Look, there's two things in the Idaho 4K so I can't let go. And I want to talk about them briefly this morning. We'll be talking about something different later on today. Don't worry, this isn't going to be Idaho 4ville this week. But there's a few things, like I say, that I want to get off my chest. Two things. And I want you to let me know down below at the end of this video what you think and what are the things that you can't let go of. And number one, with regards to the Idaho 4, let's not forget this was a party house. And that party house mentality, all of the people who were going there, that was pissing someone off. People were complaining. There was complaints. The old Bill, the police were going there a lot. Quite frequently, they would turn up there. We know that. There was times when they were turning up at this property, and the people who lived there weren't even there. Like I say, this was a party house, and it got me to thinking. I was thinking in this kind of dynamic where it's student accommodation. I was thinking to myself, who would complain? Who would complain about what was going on in this house? Was it other students who was fed up with these students? Was it people who were not students or, neighbours in Anharsh, Germany? Was it people who lived close by who had just had enough, who had blown their beans, so to speak? They'd picked somebody off just too far and someone had snapped. At the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to believe happened with Dylan Mortensen on the night when she was listening to noises. She heard noises upstairs, heard noises come out, and was like, shut the fuck up. So even within the house, we're kind of supposed to believe that there was a potential, there was that kind of mini dynamic within the house. She had enough. There was noise. She was trying to sleep. And I was trying to think to myself, look, if you lived in this vicinity, what would it be like to have, you see them programs, don't you, where you've got like them neighbors from hell where you're trying to sleep, you're trying to rest, you're trying to settle children perhaps or animals, but there's a house next door or close by where there's just hundreds of people there all the time. And perhaps you've been told that there's narcotic use and things like that, drinks and, just getting out of control. We know it was getting out of control because the old bill would turn up. We've seen some not dash cam, body cam footage of that happening. Funny that they wear body cam footage, and in those little interactions, they're wearing body cam footage, but they didn't wear them during the arrest of Brian Koberger, to what we understand so far, and they didn't record the interviews with Brian Koberger during the chats about one of the most heinous crimes this area has potentially ever seen. Anyway, I digress. That's by the by. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, that's something that bugs me. It bugs me that someone obviously had a problem with these kids. Some people have pointed out law enforcement may have just had a problem with these kids. Maybe law enforcement in the area, we know that they did these patrols in the area, keeping an eye on underage drinking. They were on the band field at the night that this happened and, talking to people, one of them with huge bushy eyebrows. But yeah, it got me to thinking, was there more? Was there more to this? Was this potentially something that had been bubbling for a long period of time, and it just happened that on this night, something else happened? Obviously, with regards to Brian Koberger, and thinking Brian Koberger came from Washington to Moscow, Idaho to do this, and many people have questioned, well, how did he know that he wasn't going to walk into this property and there'd be an abundance of people? It was football night, there was cars outside, some of them, aiming to the house, but certainly the volume of cars would suggest more than, a small number of people in the house, especially on a night, again, the aforementioned football match. But I digress. Point being, there was people in this area that had a problem with this house. And when law enforcement immediately come out and say that this was targeted, they don't know whether there was an individual target or the house being targeted for them to feel there's a potential for the house being targeted, obviously rumours gone around, had someone snapped and gone for the house. Let me know down below what you think to that. Second one, and this is gonna be a room splitter, Frank Kopacker. The Brent Kopacker situation to me is something that I just can't let go of. I'm not saying Brent Kopacker done anything. We don't know. Everything that I talk about in these videos is speculation. It's my thoughts. I have no bearing in law. I'm not a law professional. I'm not a legal professional of any description. I'm just someone who has an interest in true crime, invested a huge amount of time into the Idaho 4 case. Some would say perhaps too much, and that's why we are gonna venture elsewhere this week as well. But with respect of Frank Kopacker, there's just too many things around that situation. Even the mention of his name in the courtroom the other day, a lot of people caught up with the fact that potentially his name was said, and it does seem that his name was said. So people have got that in the back of their mind. Why would a court case like this, that it's crime and it's all over the news everywhere, everybody knows about it. Why would Frank Kopacker's name even be in the mind for someone to say it? They're thinking it. And, Frank Kopacker, the footage that came out that was released to Truth and Transparency and the Freedom of Information request, that seemed to be doctored. It didn't seem to be right. It didn't seem that we've got any evidence of who he was actually threatening. The roommates apparently weren't even in the rooms. He was in the room on his own, and he was saying something about attacking roommates or he'd go after roommates, and people have speculated as to whether he wasn't talking about his roommates there, but he was talking about the Idaho 4 situation. And, people have speculated a lot of things around Brent Kopacker, but did Brent Kopacker know Brian Koberger? Had they had interactions with one another? Brent Kopacker's social media account was shut down, and one of the last things that he had posted was map coordinates. He had spiraled for a reason to get to the point where he was on that day. Something had happened. And bearing in mind that the event that was most close to what happened to him was the Idaho 4 situation, and he was a albeit decorated but troubled military specialist who had a love of knives. He collected his best friend said how he had collected them, and I can bet my bollocks to a barn dog that this guy had a K-bar knife. But look, like I say, this is just speculation. This is just me talking about things that really bug me in the Idaho 4 case, and I'm sure that there's little things that really bug you. Me being one of them. Some of you will be like that harsh reality is always talking about the Idaho 4 case. But look, it is what it is. This is a huge case, one that is we're not likely to ever see anything like this again. I would hope that we never see anything like this again. And sometimes in these cases, there's things that just happen and you are privy to that just don't seem right. And again, the Brent Kopacker situation and feeling that this happened to Brent and he had nothing to do whatsoever with the Idaho 4 case, for me, is a stretch. But again, I appreciate that I'm looking at it with a non professional head and I don't have all the facts. But with the facts that I do have, the things that I have seen, things that I've heard, just find it very hard to believe that, yeah, that he had nothing whatsoever to do with this crime. What do you think? Let me know down below. Do you feel that he had anything to do with this whatsoever? Is there any possibility whatsoever that Brent Kopacker had anything to do with it? Was he someone who had even talked? Say you're a Brian Koberger guilter. Who trained Brian Koberger to utilize the knife so skillfully? As we know, he didn't used to have very good knife skills. Couldn't even fillet a fish. But this is a very skilled and dangerous individual, trained to kill, highly decorated but highly troubled, and something exploded on that day, and law enforcement done the absolute most to erase him from the planet. And we haven't had all the answers there. And around that case, there's as much sense in that than there is in the Idaho 4 case itself. Let me know down below, what are the things that bug you about this case? And check out video 2 later when we're talking about something completely different. I bet you can't wait. I'll see you all then.